It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview three business owners of the Lounge 167 Sports Talk podcast. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Man. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Scott, can you talk about how y'all got started in the Sports Talk podcast?
Well, we all close friends, so we was all in the group chat, and we talk about sports on a daily. So we just came up with the bright idea. Why not start on Sports Talk podcast? So that's how it really came about.
Hatch, can you talk about what y'all cover in the podcast?
We cover a lot of sports ranging from high school to college to professional. We cover a lot of HBCU sports as well, a lot of African American sports. We cover some of the things that might be going on from a political standpoint that may affect professional sports. So just about everything. We're pretty diverse podcast, and we have some in-depth conversations. So it's fun. We cover a lot of material.
What are some of your segments that you cover, Hatch?
Some of the segments we've covered a few of the policies that are talking about COVID, and having some of the colleges start their programs, and some of the programs who want to start but can't start. Some of the factors that have taken place in terms of COVID being the way it is and how much money they're losing. It's really hard not to talk about COVID and all the show segments we do, because everything is shutting down. We're not, people are not able to run their programs the way they want to, and having those updates from Roy Cooper and everywhere else, it's a constant struggle for a lot of these programs. So, like I said, with COVID being alive and well like it is, we have much to talk about, and then sometimes it's limited in so many ways too.
Speaking about COVID, how has that affected y'all's podcast and not being able to maybe get together to do like a segment live or something like that?
It's different because I feel like we're going to vibe off each other's energy. So for us commuting and doing it the way that we're doing it, it's a different feeling, kind of stops us from getting that energy from being around each other, and kind of addressing these topics.
Mike, what are some of your future plans for the podcast?
Some of my future plans are to start doing, live interviews, sort of similar to this, and just continue to grow, get our name out there, and eventually, just have that recognition of being a top podcast.
Scott,
where are y'all located at when it comes to like where y'all cover?
Well, we cover, when it comes to the high school setting, we cover mostly the Carolina area, like North and South Carolina. So we mainly cover those areas mainly, but we do look at other sports that are going on around in other states as far as high schools, so we can address those as well. We don't like to limit ourselves on anything we cover.
Mike, what are some future interviews that are coming up in the future for the Lounge?
We have some, I would say, from different sports, baseball, football, basketball. As far as future interviews, we're just trying to mix it up right now and bring a variety of different sports and different backgrounds.
Scott, what platforms is the Lounge 167 on?
You can find it on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, just about any podcast platform, really.
Patch, what are some future advice that you would give upcoming sports talk podcasts?
I would say definitely stay organized. Mike actually does a great job of keeping the material flowing week in and week out. And I see that the material he brings to us, it's a lot. So if you're not on top of gathering your material and doing your research, it could be quite difficult trying to maintain your show. So we're thankful to have Michael in that capacity, because, like I said, he does a really good job of keeping the information abreast to us. So if I was to give anybody any advice towards that, it would be, do your research and make sure that you have enough material in the week in and week out, because you could quickly run out and you won't have nothing to talk about. So, and communication, make sure your people are able to follow you and, have some type of interaction with you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people engage with our social media platforms. So, yeah, that will be my advice.
Mike, when it comes to finding content, where do you find most of your content at? Like, for example, I find some of my content on ESPN or other podcasts like the Pat McAfee Show. Where do you find most of your content at?
Similar platforms on social media, fan pages, ESPN, like you said, Bleacher Report, Yahoo Sports, Anywhere Sports, local newspaper, just variety, just to mix it up.
Thank y'all again for y'all's interview, and best of luck in y'all's podcast, The Lounge 167. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at @talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you for having us, Brandon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.